my computer's blogging or clogging up or something. I don't remember what it was. So for some reason, my computer says I'm in Washington D.C. So like I was trying to watch the Colts game the other day on YouTube, and it was like, this is out of your area, and I couldn't watch it. I was like, what are you doing?
Oh,
I have no idea how it
Mine
did
always says
that or
I'm in
why.
Ohio or something. I'm like, I'm not. Every time
Yeah.
I shows my location, I'm like, what in the world?
My phone will have me in Chicago sometimes, so I have
Yeah.
no idea
It's
what
so
I'm doing.
annoying a lot of times too.
Yeah, good stuff. All right.
I'm going to hide so I can kind of snack on my lunch while you're playing that video, okay?
Yep.
Did you lose your video?
No, I found it. I feel like it moved.
Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times.
If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
Failure has been achieved, thank God. Now, the only place to go from failure is to win. You have to achieve failure. You have to take it that far. Nobody wants to go that far. It's too scary. But you know something? I got news for you. That's where winning is. It always has been. Nothing's changed since the 70s. Nothing. Except people train not as hard.
The hardest thing in life is figuring out who you are and what you want to do for the rest of your life. And once you figure that out, you wake up every day and you work toward it. It's impossible for you to fail if you know who you are, what you want to do, and you wake up every day and work toward it.
I love this game. I live this game. And there's 1,000 other guys waiting in the wings who are obsessed with this game. Obsession's gonna be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? When you walk on that court, you have to think, I am the
best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from their claw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
Les Brown's a motivational speaker. He made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes?
Damn, Rod, come on!
Gotham's relying
What's the matter with you?
to save us all.
There is no tomorrow! There is no tomorrow!
When I seen that Bentley at the boxing gym, and I seen that diamond Rolex, I said, I want that. And I knew what it took. So I know when my opponent is asleep, I'm out there at 4 or 5 in the morning, chopping trees, working, to this day. Because I can retire today. I'm well off, very comfortable. But I got the will to win.
The truth in front of you is it sucks. It's painful. It's fucking mind-numbing. Because this is what it takes, creating another voice and sometimes going at it alone. All the time going at it alone, because no one's gonna believe you. That's that.
Work, 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 work. No results, but I'm a little bit better. Work, 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 work. Work, 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 work. No results, but I'm a little bit better. Work, 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 work. No results, I'm a little bit better. Work. Boom. Got paid. I just got paid. And it looks like overnight success.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shit. It happened in a year. No, bro. It doesn't.
Sacrifice temporary fun for permanent dreams, or sacrifice your permanent dreams for temporary fun.
And you have to learn how to fail. A lot of us have big dreams, big goals. And when you have goals that are maybe outside your reach, you have to know that getting to that goal, you're gonna have a lot of bad days. So I had to teach myself how to fail right. And what that means is, when I fail, I can't spend much time in that fail zone. I have to be able to get up and get after the next day just as fast. I don't have time to stay here and feel bad for myself for weeks and months and years, because I'll lose that time.
It was a short one, but it had a lot of good stuff in it, so I like that one. I like the said obsession beats talent every time, and that's true because you see it. You see it. Sports is a great analogy to life, and you see that with people a lot of time. They've got tons of talent, but they just don't have that desire, that obsession, or the discipline, or the work ethic to actually be really good. There's a Brittany. You watch some football, right? Because of Cole.
Yes.
Jim,
Yeah.
do you watch football at all?
A little bit. I like it.
Do you know who Baker Mayfield is?
No.
Mhm.
All right.
He's a
Yep.
quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I really like him for some reason. I think it's because I know a little bit about his story. Because he was I think he was drafted by Cleveland, the Browns, and then he had some injuries and some things going on. And Cleveland fans can be like really, for some reason, it's weird because they always seem to stink. But they've got some rabid fans up there because there's really not much to do in Cleveland, I guess. But they wanted to like basically run him out after he had like a bad shoulder injury. And then Deshaun Watson, who's a train wreck, he was available, and they ended up paying him this unbelievable contract. And it was like 200 and some $1 million contract that was fully guaranteed. And they paid him and basically ran out Baker Mayfield. And he bounced to a couple of different teams, and he showed like signs that he could be really good. But this year, he's opening game last weekend, he was like 24 for 30 and almost 300 yards and threw 4 touchdowns, and they won. And he just looked really, really good. But I thought about him when I was this part of it, just that obsession and the work ethic, and just seeing somebody that has talent, but then taking it that extra step and actually working at it. Because I can't tell you the number of people that you've seen, and again, usually in sports, that have just so much talent, but they don't have that drive, they don't have that work ethic. And it's the same thing with business and real estate. People could be talented at something, they could be like a natural salesperson, but then they may not care as much or be obsessed or even want to really do anything with it. So they end up failing and doing something else.
We're kind of complicated as a species. We might prefer it were simpler, but then equally, I don't think we would. It's just interesting, like you say, when they got talent, but they don't bring their game. You think, what, why?
Yeah. Yeah, especially people that don't have the talent. Some of us or don't have it naturally, because you can work at it and get good. You can teach yourself things, or I think there's skills within real estate and sales that definitely can be taught if somebody has that. Again, it goes back to that mindset. You have to want to do it.
I think we have a unique benefit of technology that we didn't have before. And then again, specifically, I'm talking about KV Core. I've for some time realized the KV Core is complex. I've recently heard someone refer to it as the control cabin of a rocket ship. I've often thought, well, it's like a commercial airliner. There's so many different things you can do, and yet you have to be trained, you have to be knowledgeable, and be all that as it may. It's a question: have I got the fortitude to go in and learn, and therefore take advantage of the technology? Because it can upstage my talent, what little there may be. The technology can do automatic things that I wouldn't have the fortitude to follow through on. So all I'm saying is we've got a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. I feel like I'm being lapped sometimes with the technology, just in general.
Sure.
There's so much, especially with the artificial intelligence, the AI stuff. Have you guys gone to a drive-through restaurant yet and had the AI?
Yeah, we talked about that with Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I went to White Castle has it now too.
Mm.
At least one of them that I went to. It wasn't bad though, because I feel like it actually listened and was accurate. The other one I felt like just strangling it.
Was it not intelligent? It was artificial, but not intelligent.
Yeah, the one at Taco Bell was. I haven't been back there, so I don't know.
Yeah. See, they've
Have you
got
been by there, Brittany?
Not recently because I don't really like that Taco Bell that much,
I
but
don't either.
yeah.
Yeah, they can lose a customer quick because it's not that hard to find at Taco Bell.
And I thought about that too when I was ordering it. I was like, man, is it really that hard to do the drive-through window thing that you could potentially irritate people? And they're just like, forget it. I'm not even going to mess with it. It's either
Yeah, the one I did, a person started talking. Literally, once I started saying something.
Well, that's what the
Like it was
Taco
a
Bell one did to me. Like
Yeah.
after I was like repeating myself and I was like almost started yelling at it, I guess. And then finally somebody, a live person, answered it.
They could see you were going to go postal and
Probably.
decided better intercede.
Hurry up, get this.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects today, and we'll get through this pretty quick.
No, the
Tracking
thing you're so
numbers.
great at.
Yeah. Oh man, I am the worst at tracking numbers. I'll say this till I'm the day I die. And I should be, you should switch that and make it a positive and tell myself that I am fantastic. I'm the best at tracking numbers just to trick my brain and get me to do it. But I will say that it is very, very important to track your numbers. And if you track them, you're going to be able to see things that you wouldn't necessarily see before. Because for me, even now, keeping track of how many people I've contacted, talked to, appointments I've gone on, and then of those appointments, how many listings or buyer side sales or that I've picked, all those numbers, they mean so much. And I like pause and think through and just kind of try and figure it out off the top of my head, which isn't super great. But if you're tracking your numbers, if you're writing these down every single day, it is really powerful. But number one on here is accurate. It says the fastest way to learn who you are as a real estate salesperson, your strengths and weaknesses, your level of efficiency, and what it will take to succeed is to track your numbers. It really is that important. They have, and it's mentioned on this. This is all Mike Ferry stuff, but it is mentioned on here. They have a numbers analyzer that it's part of a coaching program. You can create your own numbers analyzer. There's a lot of forums out there. Even I'm more of I can do the things online, but for me to actually see it and track it and for it to stick in my brain, I still do paper, something in front of me for whatever reason that helps. And what I would do is I would get every year Walmart has a calendar, and it's the booklet calendar, and I get those every year just because I like them. I like the way they're set up. But I would mark how many contacts, and I would try and keep track of those things on a daily basis, and then look at it weekly, and then try and put it in the system. And it's probably not the best system for me to use, but it was somewhat helpful to be able to just track it from there. And I think we mentioned this before. It was more when I was calling the expireds and for sale by owners, and I'm just not doing that to the level I was before, since my sphere is a big part of the business and just staying in touch with them. And this is after 10 years of grinding and doing all that hard work. So, but as I was calling those numbers, if I didn't write those down, or if I would get into a conversation, I would totally forget the numbers or tracking the numbers. And then when I got off the phone with one person, I would make another call, and then I'd forget to write anything down and track it. So that's just me. I think that if you are calling expireds and following a system like Mike Ferry, where you're trying to generate leads, and you're going through the learning the skills that you need, going through the scripting, if you're doing all those things, it is really, really important to track your numbers.
Well, I agree. They probably spell out which numbers we're talking about, and sort of like
Yeah, it will. It touches on the main ones, but you can really track just about anything. Number two is I think most people are probably like me. It says, we know many agents are numbers challenged. keep track of your numbers every day, and don't worry if they don't make sense today, they eventually will. And that is true, because you're going to write down it's a cumulative effect, and you'll see it over time, and you'll be able to tell if you're making a lot of you're getting a whole lot of people on the phone and you're not setting appointments. You may be saying something weird on the phone, or you may not be working through a no over the phone where somebody says no and you just, okay, have a good day, and you get off the phone, instead of responding to them and trying to overcome it and asking another question. Even though they've said no, they may not really mean no. Just ask the next question, and then you may be able to get it to the point to where that you can set up an appointment with them. And that's the whole point of making those phone calls, is to generate appointments.
You know, Andy, as you've talked somewhat often about Mike Ferry and the coaching, I've kind of softened and think to myself, I probably ought to consider that. And the thought that brings that to mind is this about, say, scripting, for example, because it's easy enough to get discouraged if people keep saying no and you're not sure why. And then on the other hand, if you know you're saying it right, no matter how often they turn you down, you can see it in a better perspective. So I'm just thinking to myself that scripting and all that's included, role play, you name it, fundamental stuff makes sense. So,
oh yeah, yeah, and that's what's good with the Mike Ferry system. Mike's been around for 50 years, so this is tried and tested and tried and true. And there are other really good systems out there. They may take a little bit different approach, or they may. Tom Ferry is really, in my opinion, pretty similar, except he adds in some more marketing and social media stuff than what Mike does. Mike is more direct in his approach with things. And when you get into coaching, you'll see too, or if anybody does get into coaching, they'll see it's not as harsh as what it's portrayed out there. And a lot of people, I think, that's the perception of him anyways. But the scripting is great because it is, and I've seen a lot of systems that they may have copied him, or people come up with the same or similar scripts when they're on the phone, and people say essentially the same thing, and they say that because it's effective and it works. And what I found neat, especially when I first started, because it became like a big game, and the way you say something, the tone that's in your voice, the way that you respond, if you're an upswing in your tone or downswing in your tone, how that can affect things. And that's where these numbers do come into play, because you may be saying something that is right on the script, but it may be how you're saying it that could be turning people off. And it's the numbers, it all works together. That's the whole point of a system. Number 3, record your numbers daily in a numbers analyzer. Turn them into your coach/mentor and prepare to learn from them. You could create just a simple, Excel spreadsheet, or the Google Sheets, I think it is, whatever it is on Google. You can create something on there, just punch in your numbers and let it calculate it for you every day. And then, like it said, that one above it, just kind of ignore it until you get some, probably at least a week, probably more like a month or longer. And then you can really start seeing what's going on with it and start learning from your numbers. All right, number 4, the numbers don't lie. Do you want to build your business on reality or fantasy? This is true in any business. The numbers are the numbers. There's nothing about the numbers that lie. If you think you're doing an amazing job and you've sold one home in 3 years, then that's a number that's telling you that you may not be doing so well. And that's an extreme, of course. But any numbers that you have, profit and loss statements, any business is looking at their numbers all the time. So, and I think in real estate, it is, for whatever reason, we are kind of numbers challenged. Number 5, don't complicate the process. Enter your numbers every day. It's great advice. And then understand the ratios within your analyzer, as they are a measuring stick that can be used to build your business. And this could take, if you're not using the system or if you're not familiar with it, there's certain things like the number of contacts to the number, the number of people you speak to on the phone, to the number of appointments that you set. it may take you, you may talk to 150 people before you get one appointment. And that's not just making those phone calls, because it may take you 10 calls to get somebody to pick up the phone. So you may be dialing a whole lot of people, which is great. It's fine. But if you're talking to those people, you may have to get through 150 no's before somebody says yes. And then, kind of my gauge is anything around 120, 125 contacts to an appointment. I think that's a good baseline. If you can do better than that, great. That means you're doing something right. You're probably pretty good on the phone. But to me, that's kind of a baseline. And then from the time that the appointments you set and then the listings you take, or contract signed if you're working with a buyer, anywhere from, like, I think Mike says something like 75%. You should be taking 75% of the listing appointments that you go on. And most agents honestly only do like 20 or 30%. And to me, that makes the system worthwhile. I couldn't imagine going out on 10 appointments and only getting 2 or 3 listings. That would be very frustrating to me, to
What
miss
do you
out on
think?
that many, have that many no's.
What do you think's the key? The ones you're in front of them. Have you
Scripts.
Sorry?
The scripts.
Okay.
Because Mike even has and a lot of that stuff's free. So, I mean, you can get into the details of it with the coaching and then go into the retreats. The office I was at previously, it was very heavy Mike Ferry. So we learned it and we're in it. Everybody was in the whole office. So that really helped quite a bit. And then, of course, Morris is a Mike Ferry coach. So he was our managing broker over there. And it was great. You basically had a Mike Ferry coach doing it with you every single day. But he has the scripts for the phone calls. He has the listing presentation script that's right there in front of you. I did a listing presentation last week, and I printed it out to where I've got it's basically notes for me at this point, but I go through it right there at the table with them. And the lady I was talking to, she was even staring at my paper. I could see she was staring at it as I'm going through it. I got the listing, which is good. But all those things are set up for you, so you know exactly what to say, and it gives you a lot of confidence too going into it, knowing that I know exactly what to say. And if you're saying the same thing over and over and over again, you're going to get really good at it. I still bring the notes, but I could do it. I feel confident I could do it without the notes at this point. I just like having something in front of me. I guess it's a crutch. But those numbers, if you put them in there and then you start understanding those ratios, it's really going to help. That's what I mean. So if you're doing the system and you see that you're only getting 2 or 3 listings out of every 10 appointments that you go on, you probably are saying something wrong at the listing, or you're doing something's going off wrong there. It could be your tone. You may not be using the right script. You may be saying the wrong things. You may not be pushing through no's when you should. That's one thing that I knew this because the system prompted it and I knew to push through it. But when you do, there are a lot of people that have that reaction no, that instant no, and it's nothing personal. And we do it all the time. The good analogies when you go into like a Macy's and you're shopping, you went there to look for something, or probably, especially us guys. Sorry, Brady, I know some women like to go and just shop and look. Most guys don't just shop and look. We're in there for a reason. Somebody comes up and asks if you need some help, and you're like, nope, just looking. When in reality, and then you don't find it, and 5 minutes later you go back and you're like, hey, can you help me find this? It's just that reaction no, that if you know how to handle that and you can kind of sidestep it, ask a question, and then get them talking again, that's where you can get past a lot of those no's. Because if we just take that no and say okay and walk away, you know, that's to me, that's a big key, is being able to work around that.
And saying that the open-ended questions too.
Yes. Yeah. We just had this conversation not long ago, didn't we, Brittany? When I was asking you
Mhm.
questions about your clients, and
Yeah.
I ask tons of questions. I almost have to apologize sometimes because I do. I just ask. I want them talking. The more they talk, the better. The more they talk about themselves, you try to keep it on topic, but there could be times when you get off of that a little bit. But people love to talk about themselves, and that's what's good about letting them talk, because telling is not selling. So if we're telling people stuff, telling them about the house, telling them about you don't know what they're looking for. So you may be telling them something that has nothing to do with what they want. What was it the other day that I thought of that it kind of irritated me? Somebody just started telling me, oh, I know what it was. It was today, actually. And it's not a professional salesperson, but I like going to yard sales still. I like seeing people's junk. And if it's something cool, I might grab it. But I went to one today, and it happens a lot there. As you will go up there and they start telling me about like shoes that are there because their son, he looks like he's the same size as me and all that. That's just telling me, just like throwing up on people, telling them stuff. It's like, I don't care about the shoes. I'm not here to buy shoes. But so you're telling me something that has nothing that I care about. And a lot of people think that that's sales. So they just start spewing information and think, oh, I'm going to talk them into this, or I'm going to talk them in, like, if that was a salesperson and they wanted to talk me into buying those shoes, I've got zero motivation. I was not there to buy somebody's dirty shoes that they don't want anymore. But you know, if somebody walks up to a yard sale, a good question, hey, what are you looking for? Something that simple. Just ask a simple question, you know, and try and stay away from the yes or no questions is good, like Brittany brought up.
I just hear your voice in the back of my head, ask questions, and then if I don't, I'm like, dang, I should
Yeah.
have asked that.
Yeah. Just ask another question. That's to me, that's one of the easiest ways to sidestep a no. Is if somebody says no or they're not interested, just kind of ignore it and then ask another question. Ask a follow-up question. You can acknowledge it, you know, oh, I understand you're not interested, and then ask the question. So just kind of ignore it and move past it. I there's a lot of times I would go into listing appointments and you're not rude about it or anything, but it's the mindset when you sit down, I'm not leaving this table without having this thing signed. And you'll get through those no's if you're serious about it and you're committed to it. And I've gotten through those no's and gotten them signed. And I don't think it was anything like, it's not high pressure, it's not, manipulating, but it was, they need help. I know what they want. If usually what you'll hear is, well, we want to think about it, or we're not sure yet. And then you just ask questions to work through that. Okay, number
Aren't three
7.
heads better than one or than two?
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
Why don't we
that is
figure
a
it out
Mike
together?
Ferry script, isn't it? Good job, Brittany.
Yep.
All right, when your numbers are tracked daily, the results will offset the emotional response that we can have to our business and improve your business. That goes back to what we were just talking about with you getting told no so many times. If we're analyzing our numbers and we see, where we're off on something, we're able to pinpoint it, and it does remove that emotion so that we're not, how stressful is it if you don't even know why people are saying no? That can get frustrating. Number 8, here's the list. For those who are extremely numbers challenged, track the following. And there's on the numbers analyzer for Mike and some other ones I've seen, you can add 100 things on there. But there's 6, 7, 8 of these here. You need to track the hours prospected. So to me, prospecting it's not just phone calls. If you're at the grocery store talking to somebody, if you're texting past clients, texting to me, if it's someone is different than texting a stranger. Texting a stranger should not be. I don't see the point in it. I know KV Core does that, and it's done in the background, so it's not like we're sitting there typing any of that out. So that's good. But prospecting is just anytime you're talking to somebody about real estate. It could be at an open house. It could be in the grocery store. It can be just about anywhere. Track the number of contacts you've made, the number of presentations you've made. That's where the calendars can come in handy. Listings taken, listings sold, buyer sales, and then closings. So any of those, and then those ratios are going to be different. So if you're taking a lot of listings like I am right now, and then they're not selling like I am right now, it's a good way to start analyzing things. So what's going on? Did I take the listings overpriced? Are the sellers not motivated? Is it something in the market? That's where all these numbers can really come in handy and be really helpful. And of course, the last one, closings, is going to be pretty important if you want paid. Number 9, set daily goals around your numbers. Use a dry erase board to keep them in front of you and your staff. there's a million ways to do this too. If you're trying to, you may shoot for 25 contacts in a day, which to me is a lot if you're making phone calls, because that's actually getting somebody to answer the phone and talk to them on the phone. But if you set those goals and okay, it takes me 125 contacts to get a listing appointment. If you're making 25 contacts a day, Monday through Friday, you should be getting at least one appointment a week. And that's a great real estate business there. Because if you're taking, half of those, you're looking at, 35 listings a year. That can be a really good business. So that's only taking half of them. But if you set some goals around those, it's a really good thing. And then this is a common theme: find an accountability partner within your office or within a coaching system that you can report your numbers to daily. We would do this at the office a lot. We would set some sort of incentive. We'd write each other a check, and if we missed a day or if we didn't get the contacts, the other person wouldn't be able to cash the check. We would pool money together, and then the person that did not, you would knock people out of the competition if they didn't reach their number of contacts they were trying to reach that day. And then the person at the end of it that was the last man standing, they'd get the pile of money. But there's a lot of ways to do it. To me, I'm very competitive. So if it's $1 that's involved in it, I'm going to make sure I get those no matter what. It is really good to have that accountability, because if somebody is holding you accountable, or if you have something set up like that, and you've hit 19 contacts and it's 4 o'clock and you're ready to go home, you've got to get those 6 more contacts. You're going to do whatever you have to do to hit those, whether that's, go out onto the street and find cars and just talk to people about real estate, whatever it takes to get it done. It is a good thing to keep you on track and motivate you. Then number 11, by tracking your numbers, you'll know who's referring business to you and how much each client is worth to you. So yeah, if you see, and a lot of people probably are heavy on their sphere of influence, and you see that that's where that business is coming from, just tracking that by itself, and that's part of the business planning and putting a business plan together, is looking at where your business came from the year before, because that's probably a good indicator of where it's going to come from in the future. And if you've got 10 clients that are sending you tons of business, you better make sure that you're treating those clients really, really well, or somebody else will, and that you're staying in touch with them and seeing if there's anything you can do for them, anything you can help them out with, send them a Christmas gift or something along the way. 12, numbers analyzer will tell you where you've been, and based on those facts, where you're going. Pretty straightforward. Vast majority of best agents do 75% of their business during 2 quarters of the year. Use a numbers analyzer to determine which 2 are best for you and how to make the rest better. Most people, I would say, are probably the second and third quarter, first and second quarter. There's probably people all over the place. We know an agent that does really well around in the fourth quarter for some reason, which is really cool, really good. If you're able to, that's one of, I'm talking about Michelle Brittany.
Yeah.
She always does a lot in like December, which is strange. It's great, but that's just how stuff for her goes. But I would venture a guess, if we spent a year and she tracked her numbers and we looked at her numbers, we'd see something and be able to figure it out. That's what's good about tracking the numbers, if you actually do it. My coach used to get on me all the time because I would halfway track some of them. And you can't, if you're only doing it part of the way, you can kind of guess at it and figure out a little bit, but you're not going to be very accurate on what you're doing or not doing, or what you need help on, or what you need to work on. Spend some time each day monitoring your numbers so you can make the necessary adjustments to your schedule and to your skills. Yeah, if you missed a bunch of contacts and you're trying to make them up, you're going to have to probably adjust your schedule to get more contacts. Or 15, keep your numbers analyzer current. It's your best accountability partner and the best tool for improving performance. There's 2 ways to increase your efficiency: increase the amount of numbers you do daily, or increase the quality of contacts. So if I knew that I really needed to get more leads, or if I needed to set appointments, I'm calling my sphere more than I'm just calling random. Or if I'm just calling just listed, just sold numbers, your numbers are going to be a lot more skewed on those, because those people aren't quite as motivated as a for sale by owner or even an expired. The for sale by owners and expireds, they've had their house on the market, so there was some level of motivation within the last 6 months. Just listed, just sold calls, you're basically calling around a listing that you either just listed or that you just sold. And on those people may not, selling their house could be the furthest thing from their mind, so it ends up being a lot more of a cold call. So the ratios are going to be drastically different. So you're going to see that if you need to be more efficient, so I've only got a certain amount of time that I need to focus on, expireds or FISBOs or your sphere. And that's it. Now you know it all.
That is good material.
Yeah. Have you ever tracked your numbers?
Not consistently.
Yeah.
Though
I
I would even tempted to commit to the idea of doing it. So check with me.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it really can be powerful if you're really trying to do some business. And my business is just different than when I first started in a good way, because I didn't want to, and I still don't want to grind every single day. It gets tiring. I fully support people that are doing it. If you want to do that, I think that's great. And I think starting out, or if you need to kickstart your business, I think that's definitely something that should be done. To be fair, there are times when I do focus on a little bit more on the calls and really reaching out. It's usually when things are a little bit slower. So in the fall and winter, I'm definitely am more structured on what I'm doing with trying to call. But you get busy enough and the business really starts taking off and you've got people contacting you, it's hard for me to justify even sitting down to set that time aside in the schedule, because I would set aside 2 or 3 hours every morning to make those calls. But then if you're getting people calling you and you're working on listings and you've got buyers, and you just you can't really do that 2 or 3 hours without you. Let me rephrase that. You can if you want to. And that's it goes back to that YouTube video where knowing who you are and what you want is a great tool to know and have, because I don't want to chase down those leads all the time. I could, when I get busy, I could shift that off to other people, so to give me time to be able to prospect in the morning and then make the business even bigger. I could do all that. I just don't have that desire. That's just me being honest. I don't want to be calling people all the time.
Sure.
I like having people calling me and just dealing with mostly referrals and center of influence, but it takes time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's all I got. You guys got any big plans for the weekend?
Have a baby shower to go to. That's about it.
Baby shower?
Caitlin Fender. Well, she's married now.
Yeah.
Take a stack of your business cards and make sure.
Yeah.
Right?
You get you one of those realtor shirts.
I know. I need to go on the
They ask me about real estate.
EXP website again. Look at a sweatshirt or something.
Yeah.
Something
Or have Seth make you something.
Yeah. He'll put his little Increase Jesus thing on there.
Yeah.
It's
I need to call him.
He still ask me about Jesus and about my real estate business.
There you go. 2 good things.
Yep.
All right. Well, you all have a great weekend. We'll try and be back here next Friday, Lord willing. And Brittany, I do like that color in your office.
Thanks. Yeah, Cole says it seems like it's very mature in here.
Yeah.
So we need to make it a little bit more. And I'm like, well, I am 30. I guess I should be mature, I guess is what they say.
Yeah.
Raise your prices now, Brittany.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys later.
Thank you again, Andy.
All righty.
Bye.
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 All right, I'll hang up now.
All right, bye.